Hey everyone. I just wanted to have a quick coach advisor meeting today, an online meeting, and just to make sure we went through a few things so we're all on the same page. I was thinking about what I would go over, and one of the things I thought I'd go over is maybe what I've learned over the years. I've since I was coaching, I've been coaching since I was in college and since I was probably 19 years old, and now I'm just about 60. And I was head coach of boys and girls, and I did ended up coaching about 700 games, and that's a lot of games. When I was younger, I thought I knew everything. And when I first started out, man, I thought I knew absolutely everything, which a lot of young coaches do. And by the time I was done, many, many, many years later, I felt like there wasn't enough that I knew, and I had to get more information. Just like with everybody else, people might think to yourself, the state tournaments, state championship games, and those type of things are the things you remember. But one thing that people have to realize that a lot of times, I had a team that ended up winning 5 games one year, and they kept on improving and kept on improving. And that was one of the funnest years we've ever had, or that I've ever had. Great kids and everything else. So as I'm going through this, I wanted just to go through a couple different things as far as what I've learned along the way. You should always keep on learning. And I'm not saying just by videos and those type of things, but get a hold of people that you know in the area. Get a hold of some of the um, bigger name coaches or just even the area coaches and find out what they do. And one thing about it is nobody invented the game. As many people want to say to themselves, you know what, I want to do things differently than everybody else. How about if we just try to do things better than everybody else, more defined? Also, remember you're not alone. Not everyone is going to like you. You're going to go into the grocery store sometimes and people are going to ignore you. The coaches that try to make it so everybody likes them are going to have difficulty eventually. Search out other coaches to talk to because that helps, because you'll realize that everybody's in the same boat. Having fair and firm structure and discipline is vital, not only to your own program, but to other programs as well. If you're the only head coach, let's say, in a school system that have discipline and then the others don't, well, all of a sudden you're going to be the bad guy. Same thing as if you have junior high coaches that allow kids to get by with everything. Well, by the time they're in high school, they're not going to be used to being told no. If you want your athletes to do something, drill. Come up with drills, whatever it is that you want them to do, whatever sport it is or activity it is, and then repetition, and then repeat this every single day. You've got plenty of time to practice. Make sure you're doing something different every single day in different portions of whatever sport you're doing. If you go about the journey in the correct way, winning and losing becomes secondary. Improvement each and every day is what's important. I've probably told this story before, but I've ended up coaching boys in Burke Central, and we lost our first 3 games. As a matter of fact, I think we lost our first 5 games. One of the games we lost was against a team that didn't win a game the entire year before. So we decided to turn our attention to improvement every single day. And by the end of the year, we got on a roll and we ended up making it all the way to the regional championship game and ended up getting beat by, many of you might not know him, but Hunter Berg, who ended up being Mr. Basketball, to go to the state tournament. And again, even if we wouldn't have went that far, it would have been a great situation because we were worried about improvement instead of the end result. And that's very important. If you and your athletes believe something will work, it will. If you don't believe something will work, it won't. As simple as that. So it doesn't help when parents and other people question everything. It could be the worst thing in the world, but if everybody believes in it, it'll work better than something that's fantastic that nobody believes in. Support other coaches while you're in the community. Talking negatively about other coaches or other people is never going to get you ahead. Try to be positive about what happens because the only way teams, communities succeed is if they're positive. Practice needs to be fun, quick moving, energetic instead of sitting around. Okay, you have to make sure one thing we shouldn't have is we shouldn't have kids sitting on the stage, shouldn't sit on the bleachers. They should be active all the time. Coaches should never be sitting. We should always be active when we're doing things. Now, these are some of the expectations I would like to have for this year, and it should be pretty obvious. Every practice should be fun. Okay, that doesn't mean every single situation is going to be, but leave with smiles from practice most days. Okay, teach concepts and build positive communication. Tell them what to say instead of telling them just to communicate. Amp up the energy. It should be quick moving throughout practice. And then build good citizens and do the right things. Now back to some of the things as far as our athletic trainer. We'll be in Washburn 3 times per week, and this is going to be Lacey Feist again. Numbers up there. If you have any issues at all, or if the kids do, make sure you take advantage of her. We're still going to have our 3 sport athlete and 3 fine arts awards, which went very well last year. And these are some of the things that you have to have for those. Same thing with the fine elite athlete award and elite fine arts for those students that ended up doing it for all 4 years. Now, chain of command, students should talk to their coach first. The parent talk to the coach, then to the athletic director, principal, or superintendent would be next. But realistically, it should never go that far. The reason we say school board's not part of the chain of command because they're worried about the big picture. They're not worried about individual issues of playing time and those type of things. Again, if you have an issue as far as a coach, come and talk to me. Okay, we shouldn't be going directly to the superintendent or anything like that. We should be following our chain of command. Purchasing, if you would like to purchase something, come and talk to me, and then we'll get a purchase order to make sure if it's something we need that we get. Fundraising, again, we have a fundraising forum that's online. The reason we do that is to make sure that we don't double up on some of our fundraising. Bus driving, there's 2 requirements to be able to drive a minibus. We'd like all of you to be able to do that. Bus driving physical through Lead Home Clinic up in the uptown, and then 1 defensive driving class every 5 years. August 12th, we'll have it in Washburn. 5:30 will be supper, 6 o'clock training. If you're interested in doing that, please contact me. CPR and defensive driving are obviously important, are going to be put in there. But again, you have to have those to be able to drive. Facilities and gym floor, we weren't able to do the gym floor this year, but still we try to keep all tape and those type of things off of the gym floor. Make sure we only allow gym shoes on the floor. And then please put everything away every night. We kind of have a little chaos around here because of all the construction and everything. So make sure everything's put away and looks nice every day. Building security, it prevents preventing theft. Lock all doors and secure the building. Turn off the lights. And the coach should always be the last one to leave, the first to come and the last to leave. Now, traveling. Traveling, students are expected to travel to and from events on team bus. If you plan on having your child ride with you after the game, you must talk to the coach. If you plan on having your child ride with another relative, close relative after the game, this needs to be approved by the office or myself before the day of competition. Students are not allowed to ride with anybody else that is not a parent or pre-approved close relative. Attendance day of the game and day after the game is mandatory. Students' code of conduct, that's going to be in the high school handbook. And then we check eligibility for grades Wednesday to Wednesday. In-season sports, please be respectful of in-season sports and activities. Out-of-season coaches shouldn't have open gyms, team activities, etc. for those athletes that are in season. Also, we would like each head coach and even the junior high and elementary to have some sort of communication, whether it's Remind or GroupMe. Once you do that, make sure that everybody's signed in and communicate them through that. Also, make sure that I'm able to get on there as well, so that way I'm in there as well. Students leaving for activities. Again, students are students first and athletes second. It is their responsibility to visit with the teachers about missing assignments before they leave for school. Unless the teacher says differently, the student has to have this classwork done when they come back, just as if they were in school. Dual sports, it takes a very special athlete to be able to do this successfully. When this does occur, the athlete must inform both the head coach and program which program will be his or her priorities. Athletes participating in 2 sports or activities in the same season must pass all their classes. Students need to be done and out of the building by 6 o'clock. Practices on Sunday are not allowed unless you ask me, and it's very rare. Practice does not count unless it's a regularly scheduled practice with everyone there. Students are not permitted to stay after school until their practice begins unless it begins at 4 p.m. or earlier. Sympathy groups. In many communities, there are parents and fans who gather and complain about the coach, team, refs, and other parents. These sympathy groups foster negativity and do not offer productive solutions to issues that inevitably crop up during the season. Now, obviously, there's not much we can do about that, but whatever you do as a coach, do not join in on these. Because one of the things is sometimes it might seem like you're in the in crowd. It is not a good look for a coach to join in on these and be attacking other coaches. Communication. As a group, we need to support each other. Please don't talk negatively about the school or other coaches, advisors in public. Don't talk about other athletes or parents with other athletes or their parents. Okay, so when you're talking with a group of athletes, the conversation shouldn't be about another athlete. If you're talking with a parent about an issue, that subject should not be about other people's kids or other people. Coaching and teaching is difficult and very time consuming, and everyone thinks they can do better. Activity leaders and sports coaches are having meetings and practices during school. At times, kids are being forced to pick sports over activities such as band and other things. Make sure we recognize that situation. Practices of any type during school time is not accepted. This is something that is not allowed unless it is a scheduled event. The opportunity to participate in Washburn Southern McLean team is a privilege afforded to our student athletes by our community. Every student athlete, coach, and parent should aspire to represent Washburn, Wilton, Wing with excellence. We represent our community, and just remember that. And again, the reason I brought that up at the beginning is when I first started coaching, I thought to myself, you know what, I really know everything. And then after a while, I realized, no, I don't. And it's so important to find people out there you can communicate with so you realize you're not in a boat by yourself. Also, so you can improve your knowledge to help your students as much as possible. Stay positive and do whatever you can to help our school, our community, and our students. Thank you so much.